Welcome to the Agent of Wealth podcast with Marc Bautis from Bautis Financial. In this podcast, Marc helps guide you towards financial freedom, ensure you never run out of money, and create a balance in life that prioritizes what is most important to you. Join us for this journey as Marc draws from years of expertise and guest experts to solve the multiple wealth building challenges involved in your financial life.
Welcome back to the Agent of Wealth podcast. This is your host, Marc Bautis. On today's episode, I brought a special guest on the show, Sharon Kornstein. Sharon's the founder and owner of Image Design Consultants, which is a business, image, and style consulting company. So, Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Marc. Nice to meet everybody.
And even though it's not a financial topic per se, most of the audience is working professionals, and I thought it'd be an interesting topic. So, looking forward to having you on the show.
Thanks, me too.
All right, so let's start off. I know you have an interesting background. Let's talk about how you got into fashion. I know you have a bachelor's degree from the Wharton School at UPenn. And for anyone who doesn't know, Wharton School is one of the most prestigious business schools in the country. And I imagine they weren't talking about fashion in your economics classes.
No, and I took a lot of economics classes. I ended up majoring in accounting in Wharton and actually worked in that field. I worked on Wall Street for about 8 years after I graduated and just felt that it really wasn't for me. I was actually interested in how people got ahead in the field, how people got into leadership positions, and it was interesting to observe, who had the power. So at that point in time, I had read about a program at FIT. It was called a certificate degree in image consulting, and I said, wow, I didn't realize that this is a real business where you can help people look their best and perform their best while they have the technical skills and knowledge to do their jobs. They don't necessarily present themselves in a way that really reflects what they can do. So anyway, I took the course, and it was 2 years. I was commuting back and forth to FIT from New Jersey here, and then started my image design business.
Fashion, image design, was it something you were always passionate about, or is it something that just clicked at some point after college?
It's something that I was brought up with, because I have to say, of all the influential people in my life, my grandmother was probably the most. She would always say to me, stand up straight, have good posture, look people in the eye. Her parents actually had owned a dress store back in the day in Newark. Mm-hmm. So we were just growing up. We were interested in fashion, looking our best, putting together outfits, and just really always being, well-groomed and presentable.
Okay. Yeah. So you hang your shingle out, you start the company. What did you start off kind of marketing? What services did you start off with?
Well, originally when I started my business, I thought most of my clientele, or all of them, were going to be women, which is not the case. And I pretty much marketed to, women in my age bracket, 30s and 40s. But I found that really I enjoyed working with and was able to communicate best with working professionals. Mm-hmm. So I decided to focus on helping people, again, women and men, with their business wardrobe so that they could reach their goals, whether it's to get promoted, to get another job, to, become managing partner of their firm, whatever it was. There was always a look that they needed to achieve.
And was that at the time where, I guess, business dress was still in, or was that when the transitioning into a lot of companies were doing business casual?
It was back when business casual was becoming predominant, and people really had very different ideas about what that meant.
So it's probably good timing that you started when this whole business transition to business casual, and probably people didn't even know what business casual was.
Business casual started on the West Coast in Silicon Valley, and so it migrated east and to New York, but there were a lot of mixed views about it. So at that time, I would get hired to go into companies and basically define, what's business dress, what's business casual, what's professional dress, and show examples basically of what people should wear.
Yeah. I think the West Coast has taken it to another level now, because I think a lot of it's now jeans and T-shirts. You see
jeans, T-shirts, shorts, flip-flops. Yeah.
Okay, so you come into a company, and who actually would the company engage with you at the time, or would you? I guess start working with select individuals at the company?
It's really a combination, Mark. I mean, I get hired by companies to come in and speak to their employees, speak to groups. Sometimes they'll hire me to work with one or two individuals privately, but usually if it's a one-on-one situation, I'm hired by the person.
Okay. And when you come in and talk, obviously fashion is a big part of it. Is there other component of an image that someone would look to improve if they wanted to improve their image?
There are several aspects to it. So how you look, how you dress is important, but it's also behavior. I talk about business etiquette. I've given sections in my talks on dining etiquette, body language, nonverbal communication. It really all fits in together.
Sure. And I guess fashion is one of the components of it as well.
Fashion is one of the components. I mean, I like to talk about it more as your personal image, and it's kind of all a part. I mean, personal brand is a big term right now, but it's kind of a part of your personal brand because it's how you look. You want to reflect your lifestyle, your job, your goals, your values. So, you know, you want to be fashionable, but you also want to be authentic, basically.
Sure. And what do you lead with, I guess, as some of the benefits of doing it? I imagine confidence is one, but what else? Why would someone want to improve their image?
I mean, I help people basically feel better about themselves, and I help them control how others react to them. So it's when you walk into a meeting, if you know you look the part, if you know you look your best, you feel more confident, and then it's reflected in your actions and behaviors, and then it's also the person that you're speaking with gets that feedback. So it's a back and forth kind of a thing.
Sure. And you see a lot of, I guess, do people embrace it, embrace trying to improve their image?
People embrace it if they're at the right point.
Right. What point does someone have to be to embrace it? Is it a low, a high that they have to be at, or is it all different for all different people?
It's different, but it's usually people that have either experienced some kind of transition where they changed firms and they feel like they need to dress a little differently to reflect the new firm, or it may be they've been in a situation where they felt they were underdressed, they were undergroomed, they maybe just didn't have the right outfit in their closet. Because in addition to helping people feel their best, I save them time and I save them money because they don't buy things that they don't end up wearing.
Sure. So how does someone start engaging with you? And I guess we can kind of get into the fashion aspect of it a little bit. Do you come in and just look at what they're currently doing and make a recommendation? I imagine it's a consultative approach where you see what's important to them in terms of their image and try and help them get to that point?
Yes, it's a consultative approach in that it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, and, please pardon the pun. I talk to people, whether it's on the phone or in person or online. I speak to a potential client, find out exactly what they're looking to achieve, what's not working about their current wardrobe. I have a questionnaire that either someone can fill out, or we can sometimes I'll just discuss the questions, live with them. Generally, the next step is to meet them at their home and spend a half day or so going through what they have in their closet. So I'll put together outfits, we'll take out the pieces. I do it by piece. So say we'll look at all the jackets, all the suits, all the shirts, all the shoes. I'll take out what they're not going to be keeping based on my recommendations and actually donate, either sell it on consignment shop or donate to Dress for Success or Career Gear, one of those organizations. And so they're left with a closet of things that are flattering, that fit, that are current. And then the next step is to come up with a shopping list, and the next step would be to take them shopping.
Okay. And how many, let's say someone's business apparel, how many outfits or, different changes of clothes does someone need? Do they need can they rotate every week and have 5 different ones, or is it 10, or is it 20? Is there a right number of
That's a good question. I mean, I would suggest 10, just so you don't end up wearing the same things every week, but it doesn't have to be all completely different outfits. I mean, when I create a wardrobe for my clients, I like to have the mix and match approach, basically. So, for a guy like yourself, I mean, unless you wear suits every day, you'll be a mix of business casual, sport jacket, suit. So say, you have a pair of slacks that can go with a couple different shirts, obviously, jackets, maybe a suit, but maybe you can wear the suit pants on their own. Maybe you'll have a vest or, sweaters thrown into the mix. So it's not as if you need 10 completely different outfits.
And is it seasonal? An outfit that I have in the summer I wouldn't wear in the winter, or are these kind of all purpose?
People are getting away from the seasonal clothes. It's just, I generally recommend things that are year-round weight. You may want to have a couple heavier outfits, in the summer. Yeah, you'll have some, lighter weight things, but I think at least 50% of your wardrobe should be year-round, versatile type clothing.
How often do trends change, or do outfits go in out of fashion? Is it like yearly things change, or is it every couple of years you're seeing a shift? How often do you see
I mean, it's seasonally, really. So, if you want to be on trend, you want to get a few new things at least twice a year. But what I recommend to my clients is having the bulk of their wardrobe be classic pieces that really are not going to go out of style.
Right. And how do you keep up on trends to know that, or this is the upcoming trend, or this is what's in style? Is it research, or just...
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's my passion, so it never feels like work. I do attend, for men, there's a semi-annual menswear show in New York that I go to.
Okay.
So I learn the trends from the designers and the manufacturers themselves. I read up on a number of blogs, newsletters, magazines. And plus going to, I'm actually an outside independent stylist for Nordstrom.
Oh, cool.
So they recently opened a new menswear store and a new women's store in New York. So they have a lot of events where they're always talking about trends. So when I can go, I go to those also.
Okay. And let's go back to that, to creating a custom wardrobe for someone. So you meet with them, you spend time with them. How do you determine... how do you get down from, all right, this is what we want to, at a high level, to drilling down to these are the specific articles of clothing that we're going to get?
Okay, no, that's a good question, because I have a process where I go through a list. So I'll determine the person's coloring. And this is as we're going through their closet. So, it's not just like, keep this, get rid of that. I'm telling them why, and I'm telling them what their best colors are, their best styles, best shapes of things, best length. So, for guys, jackets have gotten shorter and shorter recently, but that look isn't good for everybody.
Right.
So, I'll tell someone, and I'll say it in inches, exactly how long their jacket should be.
Okay.
Same thing with the pants. You may want to have narrow leg pants. You want to have wider leg pants. So I go over all the different styles, colors, fabrics, and even combinations of colors and patterns and things that'll look best on them.
And is it a mix? Do you have some of it custom created for the specific person, or are you just shopping kind of generally? No, once you figure out what like you said, color, styles, you go out and look for.
I do offer custom clothing, so it's a nice option for the shirts and for suits and sport coats. Tailored clothing basically. I generally order custom. The business casual, jeans, accessories, I go to the store, pick things up for people.
Okay. And what do you see some of the mistakes that people, and you can actually use me as an example if you find something on me, but what are some of the mistakes that you see, or common mistakes that you see people making with fashion in the business arena?
Well, fit and quality are really important. And so, one mistake that people make is that they really sacrifice quality in terms of either having a lot of clothes in their wardrobe or really trying to save money. And the fact is, if you buy poor quality clothes, you lose out in a couple different ways because they don't last. You'll end up replacing them after 6 months or a year, and they just really don't reflect well on you. So even someone who's not trained to be looking at the way things are sewn or put together can get a certain feeling. They get almost an intuition if somebody's wearing something that's really poor quality. And fit is another really key factor. I mean, even if you buy the right size or you feel something fits you in the store, it's always a good idea to have a tailor or a consultant like myself just advise you on the clothing and say, well, maybe it'd look better if it were an inch shorter, or the waist just needs to be taken out a half an inch, and then it's going to fit perfectly. Because clothes in the store, that's what the advantage of the custom clothes, because they do fit perfectly once they come in, and they may need slight additional tailoring. But anything you get in the store, chances are it's going to need to be adjusted,
right,
in some area.
Where do you see like the big break points in, let's just take like a men's business shirt, a long sleeve shirt, button down shirt as an example, right? You can go and get a $50 shirt from Costco, or probably even cheaper than that.
Costco is about $19.
But is there a big difference from like that to, let's say, $100 shirt versus something $200 custom shirt? Are there big differences between those three?
Yeah, let me start with the higher end breakdown that you gave. The difference between a $100 shirt and a $200 shirt is really going to be more about the fabric. The quality, if you spend $100 on a shirt, it should be good quality. The fabric may not be as fine or as elegant as something that's going to be in the $200, $250 range.
Okay.
Also, you can look at the buttons. In the past, it was just men's shirts just had, simple, plain white buttons, but now there are all kinds of different styles and colors of buttons that add a little interest to the shirt. So, the higher end shirts will have more details like that.
Are most shirts made here, or are they made in Europe, or somewhere else? Where are most of the shirts that you're seeing?
Well, personally, for me, my custom shirts and all my custom clothes are made here in the U.S. So, I can't speak for others. A lot of things are still made in the Far East. Vietnam. There's really not a lot of clothing manufactured in Europe anymore, and what is very expensive.
So I guess all over the place. You can get a good custom shirt probably anywhere.
Right. And the fact is, with the custom shirt, the custom shirts start around $125, $130.
So reasonable.
It's around the same price as Nordstrom's or Bloomingdale's.
Sure. I remember we had, in one of our previous conversations, we talked about a custom shirt company I know, Stant, which you're seeing a lot of these types of companies come out where they'll make a custom shirt, but based off of a couple different measurements, where it's not fully custom, where someone's taken a tape measure to you, but they're claiming that they can use technology, they can use a couple of measurements and come up with something that's pretty close to a custom fitted shirt.
Yeah, the thing is that you may have to go through one or two rounds before you get the measurements right.
Right.
But no, after that, I'm sure they're good.
And I know you told me you're getting into a virtual closet, which I'm not even sure what that is. Is that you can build someone's wardrobe using some kind of app or program to do it?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what the virtual closet is. So it's a specific software program that allows me to take pictures of my client's wardrobe. So I mentioned when I first start working with someone, I'll go to their home. As we're going through the clothes in the closet, I take pictures of everything that they're keeping. So then I'm able to upload them into the closet, and then they actually have all their clothes in. When I say it's a virtual closet, it's a digital version of their closet. So They can look at it online with a specific link. They can see all their clothes in separate pictures.
Okay.
And then I can say they're going to an event, say they have a wedding. So I can tell them, what to wear to the wedding. Maybe they're going to a conference. Maybe they have a conference they're going to in Florida. It's a 3 or 4 day event. They want to know what to take and they don't want to overpack. So I can actually go through their closet and tell them what they should bring, what they should pack, and then even what they need to wear, every day. As time moves on and you want to add to your wardrobe, if you have the virtual closet, I can make recommendations from online websites.
Oh, cool. So you can say if they're looking for something that they need, or you recommend that, you're going on a trip to here, you might need this, you can actually...
Exactly. I mean, maybe you're going to London and you don't have a nice trench coat, and
Right.
the weather is very changeable. So say, well, just why don't you just add this to your wardrobe? And I can give 3 or 4 different examples of different styles or price points. And the advantage, if you are registered for the closet, you can actually just click on it. It's so easy. It's a no-brainer. You just look at the picture, you figure out the one you want, you just click on it, and then you can buy it right there.
Oh, wow. So it is all interactive in terms of how to use it. So that's pretty good. Now, you mentioned one thing with the clothes. You said the virtual closet works with clothes that someone's going to keep. Is that part of the engagement where you have that consultative approach and you kind of specifically go through where we're keeping this, we're not keeping this, we're keeping this with someone?
So as I'm going through someone's closet, and just a reminder, this takes a couple of hours.
Right.
We have a pile of what to keep. We have a pile of what to give away or donate, and then there's a pile of things that may need alterations. So you might have things in your closet that you don't wear because they don't fit you anymore. Maybe they just have a fallen hammer. If you've lost some buttons, you don't know where to replace them. I take care of all of that for you. And then everybody has things in their closet that they don't wear because there's nothing that matches with them.
Right.
So, that's in the keep pile, but as I'm taking pictures of everything, I'm making notations, and I know that, say, you're going to need a pair of slacks that's going to match with that, multi-blue colored shirt or something like that. So you'll be able to put all your clothes into outfits.
Okay.
And this is something else I learned from my grandmother, because when we would go shopping, she'd say, well, we're not leaving the store until you have outfits.
Right. Yeah, that's what you definitely want, right? You don't want stuff that doesn't...
No, you don't want stuff that doesn't match anything.
That doesn't match. And is part of it also making out of the clothes multiple outfits from different scenarios, different...
Yes, yeah. So that's what I was talking about, that, maybe you have 10 different outfits, but it's not all separate pieces. So, you might have 4 or 5 pair of slacks. If you're a woman, you have 2 skirts, 3 dresses, but everything can be combined into many more outfits than the number of pieces would suggest, because I call it a capsule wardrobe, so it's pieces that can all just fit together in different ways, and I'll show you how to do it.
Sure. And who do you see? I know you mentioned earlier you initially thought that you'd be working with a lot of women, and then you talked a little bit about people in transition, but who most commonly do you, is there a niche or any type of people that you most commonly work with?
I'd say the most common client that I have right now is a man or woman in their 40s or 50s in business who doesn't have time, has a very varied type of life, and doesn't want to spend a Saturday at the mall all the time. And they hire me to come in and just create a wardrobe for them that they're comfortable with, that's flattering, that's within their budget. And it's easy to wear.
Mm-hmm. And I know you mentioned earlier about, working with colleges, and it's not just fashion that's part of an image. What types of help would someone graduating college need in terms of building? Because I guess, with someone in their 40s and 50s, you might be recreating their image or their personal brand, but someone may not even have one to begin with in there.
Right. Well, when you graduate college, presumably you're looking for a job. If you have a job, that's great, but you're just beginning in your career. So I help people in their 20s really define a certain style for themselves and, learn how to proceed going forward with their wardrobe. But in addition to the wardrobe, there's different etiquette situations that they may find themselves in, whether they're interviewing, whether they're trying to get clients, whether they're speaking. So I help them through all the nonverbal communication aspects of business etiquette.
Okay. And I know dining etiquette is one of them.
And dining etiquette is one of them.
Very interesting. What goes into dining etiquette?
Well, I'll tell you how I got started in dining etiquette, because I found out that a lot of second interviews, especially these young people graduating college, a lot of the second interviews were conducted over a meal. specifically because employers are looking to see, is this someone I could introduce to clients?
Right.
Is this someone that I could pull into a meeting spontaneously? Is this someone that if I have a client meeting at lunch, I can invite them along and they're going to be helpful and not an embarrassment, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So the way dining etiquette works is that I'll go into a school. I do a lot of work at Montclair State.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about the place setting, the use of silverware, how to actually, there's a lot of nonverbal communication involved with sending messages to the wait staff of whether you're still eating, whether you're done, whether you want more. And in a good restaurant, there's not a lot of conversation between the wait staff and the people eating. Believe it or not, they are able to gauge exactly where you are, in your meal and what you need. So I talk about all that with the students, and it helps them not only make a good impression on potential employers, but it helps them feel confident if and when they do find themselves in that situation.
Yeah, and it's probably, funny, but small things like that probably do separate when there's so many candidates out there for this, looking for the same job. If you have even like the small things like dining etiquette, it could separate you from all the other candidates.
It could definitely separate you. But I tell the students, I say, don't copy anyone else at the table. I say other people don't necessarily know what I'm teaching you today. So just, pay attention, and I have handouts, and then I tell them all to connect with me on LinkedIn if they ever have any questions.
Mm-hmm. And the same go through, do you help people out with interviewing skills as well? And I guess that's obviously useful for not just college students, but that's if you're, some in your 40s, 50s and looking for, a different job, that could be helpful there as well.
Right, definitely. So I do help with interview skills. I mean, I help decide what to wear on an interview because a lot of people don't even know that anymore at this point, especially if a firm is business casual. I talk about how to greet someone, basically how to have eye contact, engage in conversation, all the communication, verbal and nonverbal aspects of an interview.
On how to dress, some conflicting things I've heard. I've heard dress in a suit no matter what the wear is for the company. I've also heard dress one level up from what the company is. Is there a rule of thumb in terms of how to dress for a business interview?
I mean, I'd say start with the assumption that you're going to wear a suit.
Okay.
At least for a man. For a woman, it doesn't have to be a matched suit, but it could be a jacket. I feel a jacket is really the one piece of business clothing that adds that extra level of visual presence. You have to be 100% sure that the company is casual or very low and business casual before you don't wear a jacket.
Right.
If you don't wear a tie to an interview and it's a business casual firm, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes they will give you some guidance on what to wear, and just believe them, but maybe dress a touch nicer than what they direct you to.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one last piece of advice: if you're going on an interview, don't be concerned if you are dressed at a more professional level than the person you're speaking with, because they're working there, they have the job. You're the one that has to make the good first impression.
And I guess it goes the same for you're hearing a lot about virtual interview. At least maybe the first interview might be a virtual interview. You still don't want to be on camera in your shorts and t-shirt, even if it's virtually.
No, listen, if you're sitting at your desk, what you wear below the waist, it doesn't matter. But you want to have a professional style shirt and a jacket.
Yeah. Okay, we're just about out of time. And Sharon, I'd like to definitely thank you for being on the show. How best can people reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you?
Sure. So the name of my company is Image Design Consulting. That's my website, imagedesignconsulting.com. You can give me a call at 973-433-7142. You can email me, Sharon, at imagedesignconsulting.com. And I'm also on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook Business, and Yelp.
Perfect. Thanks again. And it's been really informative. I really appreciate you coming on. And thank you, everyone, for listening. This is Marc Bautis, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Agent of Wealth podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered represents the views and opinions of the guests and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Bautis Financial. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional financial planning and investment advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investments and financial planning.